Welcome to episode 83 of the Frenemies Sports Podcast. Conference Championship recap, Super Bowl prediction. This is our second to last NFL episode because we'll do, of course, a recap of the Super Bowl. Sad stuff. Football season went by quick. I think we could all appreciate the script that the NFL writers wrote this year, other than, of course, the Browns. But overall, pretty good season. So, let's jump into conference championship games. The first one was a bloodbath after the first quarter. 49ers-Eagles. Eagles won by 24 points. Brock Purdy went out, and then the back, Josh Johnson, he then was injured. So then Christian McCaffrey ended up a quarterback at some point. They didn't have a chance. And the Eagles dominated second half, and they were deservedly won the game.
Travis Kelce didn't play in that game.
I think the Niners would have won it if Purdy played the whole game, or at least it would have been a very competitive game. They got screwed. Injuries killed them. That was about it.
Yeah, if you're the Eagles, you're pretty lucky. Like, usually most of the conference championship games, like, they're blood battles, and the only blood battle was in Brock Purdy's arm. You got, like, a clean sheet this game. It was very easy. No significant injuries to the Eagles. It was about as easy as a game as you get. When you're playing in a conference championship game and the opposing quarterback is Josh Johnson, you're going to win that game 100 times out of 100. Like, there's any given Sunday. Just this wasn't one of those Sundays. Niners had a hell of a season. I feel terrible for Brock Purdy. He came in, 7th-round pick, last pick in the draft. Unbelievable season, and then UCI injury. Really tough stuff. But looking next year for the Niners, you lose Jimmy Garoppolo. He's going to go somewhere else in free agency. You're between Trey Lance, rookie quarterback, who did not look good in the 2 or 3 games he played. And then you got Brock Purdy, who, you took him with the last pick in the draft as like a practice squad filler, and he went undefeated. And now he's out for 6 months. So I have no idea what the Niners are going to do going forward. I think it's very, very tough. With that said, though, Eagles dodged a huge bullet playing Josh Johnson. And I think that'll serve them very well for the championship game, having practically a bye week in the conference championship.
They said Purdy is going to have to get Tommy John surgery, so he may not be back for the start next season. Like, it's most likely going to be Trey Lance starting, unless they keep Jimmy G. Which honestly it's tough not having Brock Purdy because he showed so much promise, but it does alleviate some of the issues that they were going to have, having to choose between a top 5 NFL draft pick and Brock Purdy, who was the last pick of the draft. So I guess that helps a little bit.
Yeah, no, he's gonna go week by week because you have someone like Brock Purdy tickling down his butthole, and there's just not much you can do about it. I mean, Brock Purdy looked phenomenal for 8 to 9 weeks of the season against actual NFL talent. So Lance will probably start just due to the injury, even though Purdy should be starting. I think Lance will have the job until he messes it up.
It's a great quote. Great use of words. What do you guys think of Nick Sirianni? Because I feel like I like Sirianni, but for like a 2-year head coach, I think he's had the easiest path to the Super Bowl in recent memory.
I mean, I feel like partially that's well earned because they were the 1 seed, so they got a break, and then
I completely agree.
Played the team that they got. But even if Brady's healthy, I still think the Eagles win that game. Granted, it's a lot closer, but I still think the Eagles win that game.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think the fact that the Eagles really didn't have to play like that intense of a game, do you think that's going to help them or hurt them? Do you think they're going to be rusty for the Super Bowl?
I don't think it hurts. I mean, if I'm in a conference championship game and I get a 31-7 route and I get to play against Christian McCaffrey as the quarterback, no, I think that's a huge positive. You're going to be fresh going into the Super Bowl.
Okay. I was only asking the impact of the Super Bowl.
I'd much rather have, blown out a team, be fresh, than get into a bloodbath and have everyone hurt and banged up going into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, completely. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, to be honest, this was a pretty bland game. The only cool thing they had in the second half was McCaffrey playing quarterback. I would say, you said you feel bad for Brock Purdy. I feel bad for Kyle Shanahan. He started out with one quarterback, and he ended up with Christian McCaffrey. He started with Trey Lance, then you go to Jimmy G, then Purdy, then Johnson. And you're end your season with Christian McCaffrey running the quarterback. I just feel bad for him because he deserves Super Bowl, and he's gonna have to wait another year to get one.
I think it says a lot about just how good a coach he is, because everyone gives him credit for just being this genius offensive mind. But I don't think people are putting him in the highest tier possible. He had 4 quarterbacks this year, and he was 1 game away from getting back to the Super Bowl. And he's had Jimmy Garoppolo as his quarterback for his entire career in San Francisco. Jimmy Garoppolo is as average as they come. He gives you nothing special. Nothing. He doesn't have a special trait about him. And he got to the Super Bowl with him. He's got to multiple conference championships with him. I think it's ridiculously impressive by Shanahan. And then just look at his coaching tree. Mike McDaniel.
I was just going to say that.
Mike McDaniel, head coaching job in the playoffs. Matt LaFleur, head coaching job, made the playoffs multiple times. Rob Saleh, doing a great job in New York, of all places, in the Jets. And then DeMeco Ryan, he's in Houston. DeMeco Ryan, sorry. He got the Texans job, and the Broncos wanted him. I think Shanahan's just got a brilliant football philosophy over there in the Bay. He just does a hell of a job.
Yeah, also, the fact that their defense is always elite, even with the variety of defense coordinators they've had the past 4 years, I also think says something. Because he's not necessarily touching on the defense side of the ball, but he's the one hiring those people that's in charge of it, and his hiring ability is flawless. His overall leadership is perfect.
And speaking of leadership, someone in that organization that they get credit, but I don't think enough, their general manager, John Lynch, also does a great job. You'll see a lot of fallout between head coaches and GMs. A GM wants one guy, coach wants another guy. We don't really see that with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. And they've had 4 quarterbacks this year, and they were lockstep all season long, and they have been over the tenure in San Francisco. Even with the Trey Lance, they both were cool with moving the 3 first-round picks, trading up to get a pretty unproven guy out of North Dakota State who played no competition all year. They were both fine with it. They both agreed to make that move. I think San Francisco's about as perfect as a situation as you can be in. And I think it's because of the leaders on that staff, starting with Shanahan and John Lynch.
I really feel like Trey Lance is not the guy. And it's hard, I think, not to go in with Purdy, but, Purdy's your future. And I know Shanahan is, gonna probably stick with Brock Purdy because that's the right thing to do, but going with a Mr. Irrelevant 7th round pick as the guy is scary in my opinion. With only playing, I know he played 8 games, undefeated, all that, but that's scary for a future 49er fan, in my opinion.
I don't know. I may be the minority here. I'm a Trey Lance guy. I think this helps because I think he's going to be a stud in that offense. Now, I could be wrong. But I just like the possibilities with him being a running quarterback and him being somewhat pretty accurate with Shanahan's system. But going back to what Jack said, it's the 49ers are one of those teams where they're kind of like the Rams, where you're just wondering how they're able to pay all these great players, because at some point the salary cap's going to catch up with them. But with the 49ers case, I trust their coaching where they don't have to get always those top guys. And they'll still be fine. Unlike the Rams this year, where they paid all those guys and everything just fell apart when one guy got hurt. So,
yeah.
I think that the Niners are going to be a contender as long as Kyle Shanahan's head coach.
No, I completely agree. I have no doubt that they won't be, but I don't know. It's hard looking at it right now with that quarterback situation, thinking this team is going to be a back-to-back-to-back NFC contender.
All right, if anyone doesn't have any last thoughts on the Niners game, we'll move on to the game of the weekend. I guess there's really only 2. It was electric game, I think, is what we were all expecting for Bengals-Chiefs. Chiefs won in quote-unquote Burrowhead that the Cincinnati mayor and all Cincinnati players try to talk about. these two teams may play in the AFC Championship game for the next 5-6 years at this rate, and it's going to be a 23-20 score every single time. It looks like. It was a great game to watch. I think the Chiefs earned it. I think Mahomes deserves to go back to the Super Bowl and get another ring under his belt for his play, especially what he did with. The Chiefs had no receivers at the end of the game. It was Martinez, Valdez-Scantling, and a random guy I've never heard of because the rest of the guys got hurt, and Kelsey. And they were able to pull it out. Good for the Chiefs.
Yeah, what I learned from this game is that Mahomes only needs Kelsey, and that's it. It does not matter who's on the field. As long as Travis Kelsey is playing, the Chiefs are one of the best teams in the entire league. He is so important and so vital to that ball club. When he goes down, the ship will sink. And as long as Kelsey's on that field, they're a Super Bowl contender, and they're going to be no matter how long Kelsey plays for, in my opinion.
Yeah, Smith, I think you're completely right. And Kelsey's like 33, 34. He's old for a tight end. I think one of the biggest takeaways from that game is Patrick Mahomes. And, before that game, everyone was saying Joe Burrow is is the best quarterback in the NFL or the second best quarterback. Everyone had him 1 or 2. And I would still agree that he's 2 or 3. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes is on such a different level than every other player in the entire NFL right now. To go out in the AFC Championship game, Marquez Valdez-Scantling is your wide receiver 1, and Kadarius Toney was maybe wide receiver 2.
He got hurt, though.
I know. I'm saying he was maybe your wide receiver 2 to start the game, and then whoever else you have on that wide receiver core. And it's not like they have a running game. Ponchero's a 7th-round rookie, and it's not like he's, like a James Robinson-type rookie. He's good. Pacheco, I'm sorry. He's good, but he's average. It's not a great running game. That entire offense is on the backs of Mahomes' shoulders, and he just carries it. I've never, even with Brady, I don't think I've ever seen a team so dependent on one player that the Chiefs are with Patrick Mahomes. It's unbelievable. It's Mahomes, and then an empty tier, and then it's your Burrow, Allen, Rodgers. I have never been more impressed with a quarterback, maybe in my life, since the Brady comeback against Atlanta. Mahomes has just left me speechless, and I would love to see him get his second Super Bowl this year. I think nobody in the NFL deserves it more.
I just hate that Juju Smith-Schuster is going to get a Super Bowl. That is my only issue.
I don't think he may not play, though. So he may get a ring, but he may not play because I think he got hurt in that game too.
Do you just like Travis Kelsey, like a person? Like, do you like Travis Kelsey?
Yeah. How could you not like Travis?
I don't know. He
really?
He
him on the podcast with his brother is electric.
I don't know. There's something about him that kind of bothers me, and I know it's a hot take because a lot of people love him.
He just gets.
I don't know what it is. He what?
You just get intimidated by Travis. That's all.
Maybe, yeah. I feel like a small little man when he speaks. I don't know. Not sure what it is.
If you feel like a small little man when Travis Kelce speaks, how do you think the mayor of Cincinnati felt? That was one of the best post-game, pure emotion on the field events I've ever seen. When he goes up, "Shut your mouth, jabroni," to the mayor of Cincinnati, that was fantastic.
Now, at least the mayor did take a champ because he tweeted something. Yeah, so it was good for him. But Jackson, this is the point I was trying to make a couple podcasts ago.
Okay.
Arrogance from Cincinnati was going to catch up with them, and it did. That's what I was trying to say. You ridiculed me to the point.
To be fair, when we made that episode, Eli Apple and all those idiotic cornerbacks had not called it Burrowhead yet, and the mayor did not ask Joe. No, they did not. Not that.
No, I know, Jackson. I'm just saying I could sense that, and it came to be true.
Jacob James.
Jacob James. Not JJ.
Not JJ.
Not
Jacob
JJ.
James. Jacob. If you could sense that the Bengals cornerbacks were going to call it Burrowhead, and then if you if you could sense the mayor of Cincinnati was going to have Joe Burrow take a paternity test to see if he was Mahomes' father, all credit to you. Because now I agree with you on your Cincinnati take. That's extremely arrogant. You don't do that. If you do it, you better win.
I just have one.
Like once.
Go ahead, Jake.
Oh, hold on. I just say one little quick thing. Once the Bengals came out with all that shit that they said, I knew it was going to be a Chiefs win. Because the world works like that. You can't talk that much and be that arrogant and just keep getting your way. Unless you're, like, supremely better than everyone else, which the Bengals aren't necessarily are. It's not like they have, like, amazing levels of talent on the field. Sorry, Carter, go.
I just have one question.
Okay, Carter, let's do try number 2 here. Let's repeat what you just said.
I just want to know, Mr. O'Neill.
Mr. O'Neill. I heard Mr. O'Neill. Jack, he's asking about your dad's thoughts on the game?
I just want to know, Mr. O'Neill's okay.
Is Mr. O'Neill okay, Jack?
No, Carter, because he just had a stroke listening to that.
On my audio, I apologize to the Frenemies fans.
Carter, I'm going to have to politely ask you just to please stop talking for the next, 5 minutes until you get your shit figured out.
And if you can also back your face up from your camera, this is hard to look at.
Speak in, 3 to 4 words, cycles here.
I'm sorry about him, Frenemies Nation. That's just terrible. We try to come prepared every night.
We were on time. He showed up an hour late with no audio. It's not okay.
This is his second camera, too. It's ridiculous. He says he cares.
We're very much like the Chiefs in a way. You know, one of us is Kelsey, one of them is Mahomes, one of us is
Andy Reid.
The blatant lies, the blatant repeated lies.
They have Pacheco. Like Pacheco, he has moments where you just love him, and then you have moments in the most important game where he can get more than a yard. But it's okay because we love our Pacheco.
Yeah, but this has been a tough game for Pacheco. This is like one of those you need 6 points in fantasy to win, and it's a Monday Night Football game, and Pacheco got you 2.3. That's how it feels right now.
Yeah. A couple false start penalties too. Reed takes him out, puts in McKinnon.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, back to the game though. The refs. I think we should touch on the whole referee situation. There was a couple things. I think the biggest one was probably the third down where they called the play dead after it was completed and gave the Chiefs another down to get the first. They didn't score that drive though, and it didn't necessarily have consequences, but the reffing was definitely questionable. Jack, and I feel like you have some thoughts on the referees.
Yeah, it was awful. It was one of the worst officiating shows of the year. I don't think it's not the reason Cincinnati lost. When you're going up against Kansas City and their receiver Marquez Valdes-Scantling has over 100 yards, you deserve to lose that game. No matter what game you're playing, you have to win substantially enough to where the refs don't influence the outcome of your game. With that said, the refs did a terrible job. In a conference championship game, you don't want to see the refs, insert themselves, and that's what they did. And I think it took away from a great game. There were a lot of missed calls. There were a lot of calls that went one way and didn't go another way. How that officiating crew made it to a conference championship game, I don't understand. I think they were terrible in so many aspects. If you're a Bengals fan, that's tough to swallow. With that said, though, you can't talk all that shit and then go into Arrowhead and lose to a team with no wide receivers.
I would say I feel like another call people were bitching about was the roughing the passer when he steps out of bounds and they got that extra 15 yards in the field goal range. Was it unfortunate? Yes. Do we ever want to see a game end like that? No. But it was the right call. He was clearly out of bounds. You know the NFL. If the quarterback is about to go out of bounds, just don't touch him. There's no need.
It was
I feel bad because the dude he actually had a great game. He's crying on the sideline, and Fox was being a bunch of just assholes, focusing him as he's just crying his heart out. But it was the right call.
Yeah, no, it was completely the right call, and I don't know if a ton of people are arguing that. I think even Bengals fans know that was the right call. If you're arguing that, you're just mad and sad, which I understand. You should be mad and sad if that loss. But no, it's definitely the right call. I think people are just mad overall at how that game was officiated. Because it's like the refs made the right call there, but overall, that human officiated so shitty.
I think part of it, too, is why a lot of people were upset about that call. There was a missed roughing the passer on Burrow earlier in the game, and there was a missed late hit out of bounds on Joe Mixon that looked identical to the Mahomes play. And then right before the Mahomes out of bounds late hit, the Bengals had a punt, and right on the punt there was one of the most like egregious block in the backs you could see on a punt. Like they call the littlest block in the backs for a punt. So for it to be two guys full on hand extension pushing a guy to the ground through the back, and that not to get called, and instead of a 30-yard return down the sideline, I can understand how Bengals fans would be upset. I almost think the NFL, I don't know how you fix this problem. I would imagine there's like at the league office, at least like the head of officiating, I'd imagine they keep stats on these referees, and they can like look at the refs that got the most calls right, and like, you know, you can review a game and stuff. I would think it would make sense to get the refs with the highest, like, you know, correct call percentage, put those guys in the conference championship. This guy, like, I've never seen a crew miss so many calls consistently. And it wasn't like just, you know, like crucial, like third quarter, fourth quarter calls. It was first quarter, second. It was whole game. There was no consistency. Like, if it was a consistent game, yeah, it's a little different. It was bad all around. The NFL's got to find a way to fix the officiating system because it's terrible right now.
Yeah, no, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he does, like, high school referee, and he's eventually like college and stuff. And I asked him, like, do you think refs should be fined? And essentially his answer was, if, like, they do get graded. So if the NFL determines that the referee crew is bad, they do get punished, but they don't come out and say it. So, like, they won't get as many games, which is essentially fining them, because, like, then they don't get a paycheck. So they get less games, or they get the shitty games. And that's kind of the ways where they're, like, fined and penalized, but it's just not something that's like broadcasted to the NFL audience.
What do you think of this? Because I was thinking about this, and I think this could fix officiating in America as we know it. Obviously, you can't like fire a guy for getting a call wrong, but what if you made it so like whoever gets like the most calls correct, it's like incentive based. Most correct calls you get like a commission. So it's more based, the more correct calls you get, the more money you make. And then whoever gets the most correct calls at the end of the season, you get like a bonus and you get to like go do the Pro Bowl or something. No, that's no effort, that's no stress, and you get a huge paycheck, and you get to go to Vegas or Hawaii for a weekend.
I like it. My only like sense of caution there is that then you're in a very like nip and tuck call games, where I think there's going to be a lot more penalties. So they can get that call right and get more points, I guess, whatever point system they're doing. And
possibly. That. But also, do you feel like NFL officials, like I feel like there's a lot of times they'll make a call that like everyone knows it's the wrong call, but they make it to keep the game more entertaining?
No, I don't think that.
Really?
Because you got to think these refs, a lot of them, it's like they went through a lot of shit to get to that position. And that's a job they've wanted for a long time. Because there's a lot of stuff you have to work to, like to be an NFL ref. So I don't think they would jeopardize a job they worked extremely hard for just to make things entertaining. Like if you're a doctor and you're doing a boring surgery, are you purposely gonna like puncture the dude in the heart to make it more interesting?
Maybe if like
I hope not.
Like I mean, if you are a really good doctor and you're like at like a 918 out of 918 on like, you know, the success rate. Like you're like 918 of 9. You haven't missed a single surgery. Yeah, maybe if I'm doing like a simple wisdom tooth surgery, maybe I'm puncturing like a lung or something, and I'm fixing that as I'm getting the wisdom tooth out.
Okay, so
that's interesting.
You're doing
you don't think NFL refs do that?
No, I like not at all. I do have a question about your analogy though.
Unless it was a Tim Donaghy situation that we have going on in the NFL and they're getting paid that much money to the point where, like, it's worth it, then no. And I don't think there is, so.
So, like, check the doctor would be it would be a tooth surgery and he ends up puncturing a lung? I don't get how he goes.
If you're like a Ben Carson type of doctor, when it's like you have a perfect success rate, like even the most like challenging surgeries. Like I would get bored if I just get like, you know, a little wisdom tooth surgery. That'd be like, you know, shooting labs, but like you can only shoot right-handed labs. Maybe I want to do a left-handed layup, or like a reverse, or a jelly, or something. You know what I mean?
I really don't. But Jackson, I appreciate your attempt.
It's like if you're playing, it'd be like if you have a little brother. Okay, stick with me here. You have a little brother, and you guys play like 2K together all the time.
Okay.
And you're a lot better at 2K than your brother. You always beat him by like 30. And you want to like level the playing field. It'd be like, okay, you give your brother like the 2010 All-Stars, and you just take a random WNBA team, and you play those two teams together. It's like a challenge.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
It's more difficult, yes.
Okay. Jackson, I appreciate that you're present. Because the most important thing is just being present somewhere and attending something. Also to you, Hunter.
Hand up.
Thank you. We can't see your face.
Okay, Carter, thank you. At least you're present. That's all I asked
shoving
for.
my phone down my throat so you guys can hear me, so I'm still working on it.
Carter, that has nothing to do with your audio levels.
Carter, I appreciate your attempt to be here. So let's move on to the Super Bowl.
Real quick.
Oh, no. You
Hey,
have the floor.
Can you just... I don't know what's going on with Carter. Can you just like put up a picture of him or something, and like that way they can still
It's not
see
like a good picture. More
No.
like if you need a comparison one, that'd be nice.
I don't think he's earned a good picture today.
We'll send you a couple options that you could then choose from.
And if you like multiple of them, Hayes, like you can go nuts.
Okay, Super Bowl. You all good? Move around to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we can do the Super Bowl.
All right, Chiefs, Eagles, Sunday, February 12th at 6:30. The Super Bowl just overall is just a great spectacle. You have the halftime show, you have commercials, you have all like the weird bets you can do with like how long the national anthem's going to be and all this different stuff. Overall, just having fun. But I also think the football side of things is going to be one of the best we've had in years. Because I think you're going to get to a point where Patrick Mahomes is going to have to play Superman to win this game. The Chiefs are not going to run the ball on the Eagles' defense. Not at all. That front is amazing, and I do not see a way where Pacheco couldn't get more than a yard against the Bengals. He's not going to get a yard against the Eagles. So it's going to come down to, can Patrick Mahomes play the best game of his life, in my opinion.
I feel like a lot of people right now are thinking the Chiefs will win this football game. Chiefs plus money, easy money. People are taking it. I think a lot of people are taking it. The Eagles are favored, but I think a lot of people are on Kansas City. And I think, are we doing picks right now?
We were going to talk about the game a little bit.
Okay, I don't know. I think the Eagles are so more talented than the Kansas City Chiefs are just overall. Defensively, they blow the Chiefs out of the water. And really, minus quarterback, they're better at almost everything. The Eagles are such an overall much more skilled football team than the Kansas City Chiefs are. I know the Chiefs have the best part on the field. And like Jake said, it'll come down to, can Patrick Mahomes play the best game of his life? So it should be fun to watch.
I'm excited too. These are two completely differing styles of football. The Eagles are very much grounded pound, best running offense in the NFL. Chiefs don't really have a running game. They're air raid. So you can see the Eagles. They might have like a 5 or 6, 7 minute long, chew a lot of clock, big drive, a lot of runs, and the Chiefs can go down 3-4 plays. They're right back in the end zone. So I'm very excited to see, because most Super Bowls, it's not air raid versus run game, and that drastic of a difference. This one it is. It's one of the best passing offenses in the NFL versus the best rushing offense in the NFL, and two great defenses. And with the Eagles, that's a team, they'll be able to wear down the Chiefs' defense. Play after play, grind after grind. They will wear them down. And then the Chiefs, they're going to be a flash. They're going to go quick. I'm sure they'll have some tempo. And the corners are going to be running all day. Linebackers are going to be running all day. Mahomes will get the ball out quick. I don't think the Eagles' D-line and the pass rush is going to have the biggest game, because I think Mahomes is just going to be slinging it. When's the last time we've had a great Super Bowl since last year? Last year was a pretty good Super Bowl, but this has the potential to be an all-time great. Last time the Eagles were in it, it was one of the best Super Bowls ever. Chiefs Niners was a great Super Bowl. I hope we get another one.
I feel like another important part is that Andy Reid gets 2 weeks to game plan. So what I would expect here is Chiefs are going to score the majority of their points in the first half. I think if the Chiefs can get 17 to 20 points in the first half and then grind a touchdown in the second half, I think that's maybe your only way to win. Because once the Eagles, once it becomes less of a scheme game and then it's just player on player who's got the better players, the Eagles are going to win it every day of the week. So I think if the Chiefs can get started early and then just rely on that defense to keep the Eagles under 21, under 24, and you win at 27-24, I think that's a Chiefs formula.
Okay, Jake, Hunter, Carter, if you're here. I have an interesting prop bet for you guys. Over-under trick plays ran by the Chiefs, 1.5. And then over-under quarterback receptions in this game, over 0.5. Thoughts?
Okay. Under on the quarterback things, because I don't think they're going to use Mahomes like that because he doesn't really have an ankle.
They could use
play?
Hurts like that. They could use Hurts like that. I could see Hurts going to a wide out.
But he's smaller.
But he's fast.
I don't see him. Yeah, but I don't see him catching a football.
Nick Foles did.
Well, Nick Foles is also 6'5", 6'6",
and runs a 7.9 40.
Yeah, well, it's not the quarterback's not going to expect to catch a ball and then beat 4 defenders and score a touchdown. Their job is going to probably just to catch it and then go down. So I don't really think speed has a factor here, in my opinion.
What are we counting as trick plays?
What's a trick play? Yeah, because the Chiefs run some weird play.
So if the Chiefs do one of their ring around the rosies, that's a trick play. A ring around the rosie, that's a trick play. End around, jet sweep, one of those, that's not a trick play.
Okay.
A screen behind the line of script, a backwards lateral into a throw, or a throw and a throwback, that's a trick play.
All right.
And if the Chiefs do any of their weird formations where they come out, they all hold hands and they sit down and they sing a Christmas carol and then they get up and snap it, yeah, that counts as a trick play. But then if one of those snaps and underhand pitches forward, not a trick play. That's just a pass.
What if it's a Travis Kelce snaps the football in any game?
Yeah. That's Wildcat, so no. Unless Travis Kelce throws it or something. But if it's just Travis Kelce power.
I think under.
That's not a trick play.
I think under.
I don't know, Travis Kelce up the middle, I don't think is a trick play. But I think a Travis Kelce jump throw, I think that would be a trick play.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think it goes under. I think we see.
I'll go over. I'll take one from each team. I think Dallas Goedert throw football.
Okay.
Welcome back, Carter.
Thanks for coming.
Yes. Stop acting like that. We've been ready for an hour.
So, Carter, what are your thoughts on the Super Bowl? We went over a lot of it, but no, it was just thoughts.
Carter, over under 0.5 quarterback receptions in the Super Bowl. Over under 1.5 trick plays ran by the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Thank you.
All right, if anyone has any other thoughts or announced in the Super Bowl, say it now. But then I think we're going to go into our picks here. And then once you give your pick, also give your Super Bowl MVP, your prediction. I'll go first because I do have. Oh yeah, hold on. Yeah, we also have records. All right. I'm in last. I am 7-4. Jack is third, 8-5. 8-3. Yeah. 7-4. Jack, what's your record?
Jacob, I'm 8-4, buddy.
You're 8-4. I'm 7-5.
Yeah, there you go.
And then Carter and Hunter are both 9-3. Okay. So I'm last. I'll go first here. I think you can kind of guess where I'm going with this. I rode the Chiefs and against the Bengals. I'm going to ride them again. I think Mahomes, those 2 weeks for his ankle is going to be huge. I think he'll be able to run a little bit more. I'm hoping they get some receivers back, either Juju or I think Sky Moore got hurt too. Hopefully Sky Moore can play. Just someone else other than Kelsey and Valdez Scantling is what I'm praying for. But I think the Chiefs win. I think Chris Jones has another ginormous game. I think their defense is able to hold the Eagles' running game a little bit. I think they score like 21, 24 points. I think the Chiefs score 27. I have Chiefs 27-24, and Patty Mahomes is getting the MVP. I don't care if he throws like 3 interceptions and 3 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes is winning the MVP if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. So that is my pick. Now, Jackson, the way this works is that because you have the third worst record, you are going to pick next.
No, we did the picks beforehand, so I get to go last because I picked 3, and 3 was the last number drawn.
No,
Yes.
you're picking.
Yes.
You're picking right now, or
No.
it's recording. You have 10 seconds.
Well, Jacob, I think that's terrible. I think that's a dictator move. I've had my pick. No matter what everyone else picked, I was going to make this pick because I want to get my Super Bowl right. I will be taking the offensive genius, one of the greatest coaches in the history of the sport. In my opinion, this guy will go down as the second best football player in the history of the sport. I will take the Chiefs, and I will ride Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes has to have a superhuman game to win, and I think he does. I think the Eagles go on a lot of long drives, but Hurts isn't experienced. Hurts hasn't been in the Super Bowl before. Mahomes, that entire Chiefs team has. I feel very confident about this Chiefs team. Inexperience might kill. Sirianni's never been here as a head coach. None of these Eagles players, for the most part, with like the exception of like Jason Kelsey, have ever been here before. I think inexperience kills Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts has a bad game, and I'm going to go Chiefs.
Okay. I'm glad you two went Chiefs because I had it written down. I'm going the Philadelphia Eagles to win the Super Bowl. I think right now, the way I see it is, who is the better football team, period. Not who's a better player, not anything like that. I think the Philadelphia Eagles have a better football team. And I think it's kind of a somewhat significant margin. Offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, corners. Minus quarterback, they're better at almost everything. I know Andy Reid's the better coach, and I know Mahomes is the best player on the field. Does that scare me? Absolutely. But I think the Eagles can grind this one out. It'll be a close game. I think if they can keep it low scoring, and like you said, Jake, the Chiefs' game plan is going to be scoring in the first half. I think if they can limit the Chiefs in the first half especially, I think they will win this football game. So I'm going with Philadelphia Eagles.
Jake.
Yep.
This is awkward. Carter is not here again.
You know, Mr. O'Neill, that is an issue we've had a lot during these recordings. And
Is there a reason he doesn't show up? And if you're a Strongsville basketball player listening to this, you know Carter doesn't show up.
Jackson, my guess would be it's because his internet's not working. But some could also
But
say
he has like more money than all of us. So how
So
can
you
the
saying
internet
it's
not be
like
working?
it's his desire? You think, or it's just
I mean, like,
he doesn't want to put in the work.
like Hunter. I mean, no disrespect here. Hunter's name right now is Casper Jiggles Fingers Worth, and hasn't had an issue today. So if Casper is doing just fine, I would think Mr. 4-0, aces every class. I think he'd be able to figure out how to hit record and then it not go away. So I would like to propose an idea here. I think we give Carter a 1-game penalty here, meaning what happens in the Super Bowl, he loses a win. So Jake, this would be big for you, because if you're right and he's wrong, Carter could drop down to last place here. Like a tie with you and then tiebreaker, Carter could go to last.
I don't think Carter would be a huge fan of that idea.
Well, see, now, if Carter was here, he could voice his displeasure, but he's not. So, personally, I think Carter would be a huge fan of this idea. It's all hearsay. It's all hearsay.
Here's what I'm going to say. One thing I love about Hunter is Hunter sets the bar, and you just have to be above that bar. Because Hunter will always he sets it here. You just got to be above the bar there.
And with Hunter, it's hard to go below Hunter's bar.
Exactly. That's why Hunter's bar is always something that you can depend and rely on. Because
Right.
it's something, like, if you're under Hunter's bar, like, what am I doing with my life?
Wow.
Carter is under the bar, and it is frustrating, but it looks like he's back here. So, Carter, we're going to give you 15 seconds, or we're going to discuss a punishment plan here.
Listen, this is completely inexcusable on me. I think I figured out what's wrong, but it's currently downloading. So obviously, as you can see from my little picture, that's probably what I'd be doing anyway. I don't know what I'm. It'll be better in the future. That one's on me. I'm sure there'll be a funny child picture of me with like a banana in my mouth or a sprinkler pointed at my head at some point.
Does your mom have any naked baby pictures of you?
I can ask her for you.
Oh, I'll text mom.
Okay, that will never happen. Or that character that I have on my screen is just not going to describe what will be in.
That says that Jack has texted your mom beforehand, so...
That's
Multiple times.
me. Anyway, I'm sorry. I apologize. I will stay like this so my audio can at least be heard. This one's on me.
Carter, your pick, because if you go out again, then we're going to pick for you.
I will be taking... I was wrong with saying Josh Allen was on a mission. Well, he was, and he will continue to be, and I think he'll get one. But the real man on a mission here was Patrick Mahomes. He was disturbed after his Super Bowl loss, and he wants another one, and he wants it bad. And he thinks he can catch Brady, and he has to milk out as many Super Bowl titles with Kelsey as possible before they have to find new talent to surround him, because he needs at least one. But he's by far he's going to win the Super Bowl MVP. He's by far the best player on that team. Give me the Chiefs, and like a 24-21 type game, 23-21, something like that.
I absolutely love that. I am on the island here. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I hate that we are now all going into the Chiefs bandwagon.
No, this seems very fitting. This seems very fitting.
The same thing that happened with that MLB script. Philly team against a team that everyone else doesn't like because they look like they're going to be the new dynasty.
I don't think people dislike the Chiefs. They just dislike Jackson Mahomes.
They'll start disliking the Chiefs just to dislike Brady.
Well, the Chiefs go like in waves. I feel like they're maybe like dislikable like maybe a year or 2 years ago, but the dislikable team, the Bengals decided they wanted to be that team this year in the playoffs. So they took that. So I think the Chiefs are actually in a very much of a lovable situation right now.
Oh, I love this. This is very fitting and very full circle, in my opinion. But I'm on the island here. Like, this makes me...
Now, Hunter, you've chosen against Patrick Mahomes a lot, and it really hasn't worked out. Are you You already said you're kind of nervous about that. Mm-hmm. Are you tempting fate here? Because it feels like it's trying to tell you a sign.
I think
you should not go against Patty.
I think it's a sign that you three are all on the Chiefs and I'm on the Eagles. I was on the island all last year for a majority of the season, and it ended out well. This regular season's been rough. But I think that the last game of the year, where I have a chance to win it in the playoffs, me being on the island, I like it. I think fate is on my side on this one.
Way to put your balls on the table. I'm proud of you.
By the way, Super Bowl MVP, A.J. Brown.
Okay. Interesting. I can see that, though. I don't know. I think the Chiefs... I don't think the Eagles can lose this game in the first quarter, but I think the Chiefs can lose this game in the first quarter. If the Chiefs are down more than 10-0, like if it's 10-0 after the first, I think the Eagles, it's sign, seal, deliver, they win. Because I don't see a scenario that the Chiefs can outmaneuver the Eagles. Like, after scheme-wise, and after all like the wrinkles Andy Reid has, if they're not winning by at least 2 scores, I don't see the way the Chiefs win this game. But I'm going to trust in Andy.
Who are you guys as X Factors? Did we do those already?
We gave Super Bowl MVP. Mine was Patty Mahomes. My X Factor, however, is Chris Jones.
My Super Bowl MVP is Kelsey. Not Kelsey, Mahomes. My X Factor is Kelsey. Kelsey has to score a touchdown if the Chiefs want to win this game.
My Super Bowl MVP is also Mahomes, and my X Factor is the battle between Jason Kelsey and Chris Jones. If Chris Jones can win that battle 50% of the time, the Chiefs will win this game. If Jason Kelsey and that dominant, and Lane Johnson, that dominant Eagles O-line, assert their dominance, especially like Jake said early in the game, it's rough. for the Chiefs to climb out of that slow quicksand hole.
Hunter, do you have an X factor for us? Because you said A.J. Brown was your MVP.
He's my MVP. I think Hurts just needs to have a solid game. He doesn't need to be great. He just needs to be solid and get AJ the football. However, I think this is going to sound maybe weird. I think my X factor is Devontae Smith. Now, I know this is two receivers. If Devontae Smith can manage to do his role and get 3 to 4 catches and get the attention off of A.J. Brown a little bit and let A.J. Brown dominate when it's time to dominate, I think they can win the game, but they both need to show up. Defensively, I think Darius Slay gets a pick on Mahomes. I don't know when, but I would say those two right there are kind of my 1A, 1B X factors.
Interesting.
Hunter, I'm shocked your X factor isn't Jalen Hurts. He's like third-year quarterback, and this is the biggest game of his entire life. Like, that doesn't worry you?
It's
like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Jalen Hurts here, but like, go back to his college days. Not a postseason player at all.
Well, again, I think it's a little different. I know it's college days, but I think he just needs to be solid. I think I'm very confident Jalen Hurts will put up a decent game. The Chiefs don't scare me defensively, and I don't think they scare Jalen Hurts either. And he shouldn't be nervous. Like, he should have the confidence going into this football game, knowing he has a better team, in my opinion.
Interesting. If I would have picked the Eagles, my X factor would have been I would have gone defense. Because I feel like the D line of the Eagles and the O line of the Chiefs is going to dictate how much success the Chiefs have. Because you look at the Eagles D line, it's not only that they're amazing, they're all veterans. Like, they're going to be ready to play this game. Brandon Graham's been there forever, Fletcher Cox, Hargraves, and I forget what's the other dude's name? Hassan Reddick, right? He's the other DN. They're just loaded with talent.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs have to play their best game as an O-line. But they had the possibility. They have Humphrey. There's another dude that I can't remember his name right now. I think he plays tackle. It's pretty good. I think that would be the X factor if I was picking the Eagles. Interesting. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown.
I actually agree with that, except I would change it to their safety, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, because he is leading their team in tackles, which speaks to the defensive linemen and linebackers' discipline and unselfishness. They're filling their gaps, whether they're going to make the tackle or not, and they let the safeties do their job. And I think if the safety has a dominant game in coverage and run, if the Chiefs cannot run at all, like ever, then it sounds like I think the Eagles are going to win, but I just think Patrick Mahomes is just a man on a mission.
Yeah, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. That's who you're thinking of.
All right. Just to recap, I have Chiefs, Patty Mahomes MVP. Jack has Chiefs, Patty Mahomes MVP. Carter, Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes MVP. Hunter on the island, Eagles, A.J. Brown MVP. Now, before we go, the most important question. Over under 125 seconds, the national anthem.
Who's singing?
That's a great question.
It's a
Because
singer.
it's
I think
like-
it's Chris Stapleton.
Chris
And I'm telling you right
Chris
now,
Stapleton.
I'm telling you right now, I've listened to a lot of Chris Stapleton in my life. Hammer the over.
Yes,
That
the
man
over.
draws out his long, low baritone, if that's even the right word for it. I'm not really good with the musical things. But it'll be a good anthem for sure, but I feel like it'll hit the over.
But it hasn't flown under the past couple of years.
the
I feel like
over-
last year wasn't even close.
The
two.
over has hit 125 seconds the past 4 times a country singer has sang the Super Bowl national anthem. This will be the 5th.
I'm in the minority here. I love country music, and I love just about every country singer. I hate Chris Stapleton.
You are actually
And because I hate Chris
You just
Stapleton.
hate great-
No, shut up, Carter. Carter. We can't even see your face, so you don't have an opinion today. No. If you don't have a face, you don't have an opinion.
paved the way. He paved the way.
He paved the way for nothing. Not a single modern-day country singer sounds like him. Wallen, Combs, Bryan, Zach Brown Band, none of them sound like Chris Stapleton. Chris Stapleton's done jack shit for the country music industry. Sorry, not sorry. I'll take the under. I hope he screws every single one of you.
Yeah, Jackson, I'm gonna go with you too. I'm gonna go under.
Thank
But
you.
just a little tidbit here. If you want to see the worst national anthem ever sung, just look up Aretha Franklin on Thanksgiving Day for the Lions. It was maybe the worst 5 minutes of music I ever heard in my life. But yeah, as long as it's not as bad as that, I'll be fine with whatever he produces.
The last 3 words of that national anthem were spanned out over 3 minutes.
Correct. Like when you look up the YouTube video, I think it's 4 minutes and 50 seconds long. And it's just the national anthem being sung.
It's awful. It's so bad. No disrespect to Aretha Franklin. Super
Oh no,
talented.
she's a legend. But my God,
She's great
that day.
Yeah, but sometimes other people are better to sing the national anthem than you. Like Fergie, for example. Fergie never should have sung a national anthem.
Yeah, also.
Big Girls Don't Cry, banger. National anthem, no.
See, the national anthem is best sung when it's just you sing it like how it's supposed to be sung. You can do a couple flares at the end.
Right.
The bomb's bursting in air, you really belt a little bit. But there really shouldn't be. It's pretty basic. If you have a winning formula, just use it.
Yeah, Hunter. You know what's funny? Hunter and I were talking about this last time we were at church. It's like a church choir. It's like one of the classic Catholic prayers, the Our Father. You stand up, hands out. Pre-COVID, most people held hands. Now it's just hold hands with the Lord or your family, and just the classic Our Father was great. Right now there's church choirs, and it's as Hunter said, they're trying to jazz up the Our Father. There's 2 things you don't jazz up in life. You don't jazz up the Our Father, and you don't jazz up the national anthem.
I believe
I think that's a great point to end on right
those were almost my exact words.
That was very well said. All right, any last thoughts to do with the NFL Super Bowl this year?
Next year?
No.
Real quick, next year.
No.
Oh.
Hunter,
will your camera be ready next year?
One can only pray.
Because it's we're on episode 10 of Riverside. And the 3 Bamboons, we've got this
I
on
know,
lock.
it's unbelievable. But if it doesn't work next episode, then I'm legit lost. Shouldn't. I did some research while I was not speaking, and camera was off. And I got that figured.
Jack, really quick, 10 seconds on Carter doing research on something.
Did not do it.
Okay. Thank you, Jackson.
Welcome, Jacob.
Yeah, I think we're done here. Make sure to check out our new website with the blogs being posted on there. Check out the Twitter, Instagram, right? Is the Instagram up and running? Yeah, Instagram. Check it all out. Check it out on the platforms. Yeah. Oh,
Link for all of that is in the description. Whether you're watching this YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Breaker, Castbox, Google, link for all those are in the description.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for listening. We'll see you later.
Thank you, Hayes.